I read 10 books in January, and while that's not the craziest number for me, they were definitely some of the thickest books I've ever read. I was prepping for Crescent City 3 released by Sarah J. Maas, which happened on January 30th, and a lot of people pretty much assumed that there would be some sort of crossover event, or at least it's information that you should know from her other series. I have read ACOTAR probably 2-3 years ago at this point, and I've read that multiple times, so I figured it was just best to read Throne of Glass for the first time, and I reread the Crescent City books for the first time since they came out. Let me tell you, I'm very glad I did that because there were so many plot points I completely forgot were existent. Also, let this be a moment of encouragement for you. If you're someone who struggled through Throne of Glass, you read the first book and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, keep on going. I know everyone says that, but I was there too. I actually read the first 3 books last year and I stopped because I was like, this is not enough for me. But really it's because I think I got in my mind, everyone says, oh, the first 3 books suck. And then after that, it's good. And so I was already just like going into it with this preconceived notion I was going to hate it and be like, wow, I have to go through 3 books before I'm even going to love this. So I didn't even give myself the chance really to enjoy everything that was being set up in that world. And it was so weird because on my reread, I actually enjoyed the book starting from book 2. So it's very, very odd. I think if you just go in with a positive mindset that you'll enjoy them all, because especially if you've read ACOTAR or Crescent City, then you're definitely going to enjoy Throne of Glass at least a little bit. I rarely cry in my like fantasy romance reads, but in that final book, Kingdom of Ash, I was sobbing. My husband had to turn over to me in bed and be like, are you okay? Because I just wasn't expecting some of the emotional turmoil that I went through in that book, even though people say it's coming. I thought I would be immune for some reason. Also someone who was a Kale hater, who was one of the characters in Throne of Glass, and he gets kind of like his own book called Tower of Dawn. There's some weird thing out there where some people don't read that book even though it's part of the series, and it's not just his point of view in there, so I think it's very much like, yes, you should read it, and 2, it wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't that I hated it because of the storyline and pacing. It was definitely from like that one character's perspective I did not enjoy, but everything else was very, very good. It's sad because I can't really give my thoughts on these books in particular because I feel like with fantasy, especially part of the series, you can't really say too much in terms of a review without spoiling it, especially if you're trying to get other people to read it. All I can say for Crescent City is that it's something I think they call it's like urban fantasy, where it's like they're more in the modern world. There's technology. The language is something that's more like modern day language. So if like the way that people talk kind of throws you off from fantasy world, then definitely read this. I highly suggest it, especially if you read Fourth Wing, because I feel like that's the best comparison there. And then for Throne of Glass, I feel like it's slightly more of your traditional young adult fantasy. And there is romance in there. I've been told this entire time that Throne of Glass is like not that much of a romance series, but it takes like a very long time to get there, but I feel like the payoff is so worth it. Wait, I'm very thankful I did those rereads and that I finished the Throne of Glass series by SJM before finishing off CC3. If you read any of these titles, let me know your thoughts, and feel free to give me your suggestions on more fantasy romance books because I feel like I'm ready to take on a whole new author.